Hi there, my name is Skhanyisiwe Sebata. I am a creative and social entrepreneur as well as a Young Women Rising alumni.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacqueline. I'm a facilitator for community development initiatives. I'm a real estate investor. I'm also a farmer and a Young Women Rising alumni.
Hey everyone, my name is Tando. I am a spoken word artist. I'm an economics student. I do a bit of finance, and I'm also a Women Rising Excel alumni.
All right, ladies. So we're going to be talking about the process that we just came from throughout these past 2 days. We're talking about creating an enabling environment for young women to thrive within their social, economic, as well as financial spheres. I wanted to find out, what do you understand about that?
Well, for me, it came out to us being able to create environment that a young person can thrive and be able to participate whenever decisions that are made about her, she's involved. The need for you to be involved in places where there's decision making. For example, when you go for these public hearings, your presence there, that's when you can be able to create this type of enabling environments for your society.
Well, for me personally, I think this workshop made me introspect a little bit much, especially with regards to where I stand in terms of participation and where I stand in terms of leadership. It speaks a lot to personal growth. It speaks a lot to resilience as an individual before you go out there to be part of these platforms. So it really challenged me to think long and hard about the type of woman I want to be, the type of society that I want to exist in as that type of woman.
Nice. I like the way you say that, because I feel like it helped shape a narrative in most of the young people that were present. And for me, I found that it's important to create your own narrative for what you want, because perception actually plays a very big role in how people perceive and see women within these different spheres. True. Yeah, so it's important for you to actually shape your own narrative and have a footing in something that you care about and then influence in that manner. And then I wanted to find out, what was your greatest takeaway?
For me, it was the need for you to understand how the system works. Like, we come up with these types of initiatives as in women empowerment, and we come up with these vision boards. We also come up with these empowerment standards, but we need to know, how does the system work and how can we navigate around it so that we can make these types of vision come true. So my greatest takeaway is, I need to know my type of community system, starting from at home, the system that is working, how power is allocated within from my dad, mom, everyone else there. How does the system work and how can I navigate around it so I can use it to create what I want at the end of the day?
Yeah, I also agree with Jackie. Also, one of my greatest takeaways has to be the dynamics of power. Because in our first session, we really learned how it is important for you to be able to read the power, to understand how it flows, to understand who holds it, to understand how do you go around it. In instances where you need to negotiate, you need to be in a position to understand it's time for you to negotiate. In instances where you need to attack head on, you need to understand it's time for you to do that. So just being conscious and aware of what's happening and how you navigate around the system and a situation, basically.
I like that as well. I think my greatest takeaway is on the skills that you need to acquire to be an effective leader, especially in the conversation about what does it actually take for young women to be leaders, or what does it look like to have women leaders within our communities. In order to, what do you think a leader looks like in your eyes, a female leader? What does that look like right now?
I think it made me understand a lot more that it can really be anyone. It doesn't have to be a politician. It doesn't have to be someone who's extremely influential. It starts even from an immediate environment. I mean, we can look up to YETT, for instance, as a leader in some form or the other. You can also look at other influential political female people and male people as leaders. So it's really different and just really depends on where you are in that particular moment in the context and the situation. Otherwise, yeah, it can really take any form.
When you don't understand what leadership looks like, I understand, Jacqueline.
Yes, I also want to affirm a point to say that what I understood most was how leadership is influenced from a very young age. That we talk about, we get into this type of program when we are already old. We have our mind models in a certain way. Therefore, when you're given this platform to lead, you're already taking in from what you've always grown into.
Yeah.
But we need to shape our leaders, our babies, our young kids that we're having right now. We need to instill the type of leadership we want them to grow into in the future.
I like that. And I think it just goes back to our culture, because as Africans, that's what's instilled in us. It's a culture of this or a culture of this. So if there's a culture of civic participation, a culture of civics from a tender age, then it's then easier to actually instill as adults. It's not like you're then bringing in something new or changing the narrative. You're actually just perpetuating something that's already there on the ground. So I really like that as well. What advice would you give to young women out there who want to be in leadership positions or who aspire to be leaders within their communities?
Well, for me, first of all, what I learned most that I would wish everyone to take on is, as women, we should not be the perpetrators of what we're trying to fight. I just discovered that we're actually one of the greatest perpetrators of patriarchy.
When you walk into,
We shouldn't be patricians.
Imagine when you walk into church, the first person who's gonna complain about your minister is not even the pastor, is the woman.
Yeah.
For some unknown reason, I don't even understand how they are affected about my miniskirt. I mean, you're a woman. But then, so we as women, we need to understand that, first of all, before we want the world to respect what we value, the things we want to push on, first, us as women, we need to acknowledge that we need to change.
Yeah.
And what we speak out there is what is shaping it.
Yeah.
We're talking about these negative proverbs, negative words that we have out there. It's the things we speak, and then therefore they become.
Yeah.
And they end up existing within our society.
yeah. It's like positive and negative affirmations.
For me, I'll go back to the aspect of individuality. I think before you go out there and become a leader, it's important for you to build yourself first. I mean, you need the skills like you mentioned, most importantly, the resilience and all these attributes that will make you a holistic leader and make you holistic in your approach, in your leadership. So if you're a young person out there, a young woman in particular, and you want to be a leader, I would advise you to go back to your room first. Look at yourself, decide on certain things, define yourself, set your boundaries, and then you can go out to the people ready to take on all the ills that will come with you deciding to be a leader.
Right. I'd say everything you put out there is basically of your own doing. So whatever narrative you put out or you shape, that's what people see. So it's very important to shape the narrative and the story that you want to tell. And every time you share it, it's associated with you and the leadership and the leader that you are and the leadership style that you have. So I believe that forming your own narrative is very important from the get-go, so that you're not shifting gears or changing narratives in between. I found that to be the greatest takeaway for me. Thank you so much, guys, for this conversation. I feel like we learned a lot throughout these past 2 days, and definitely it's conversations like these that need to continue within the different spheres that we're already in, and I hope we can have more of these.
Yeah, also before we close, I liked the conversations that we had after the formal one.
Yeah.
That we had with Namatai, the real talks. I loved how everyone was able to be vulnerable and just share their different stories and experiences. And then we were able to build each other from that. I feel like as women, it's important for us
to relate.
Yeah, to have those honest and open conversations. Because I feel like there's power in knowing that your struggle is not
Your
unique.
own, yeah.
So you gain some strength from hearing someone share something
That's
you've
true.
also been through. So I think we should do more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Thank you.